Shalom, 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 shalom. It's your brother Yowana representing the Warriors for Yahweh Shai Michigan camp. It's another TikTok update. To start off, we're going to give all praise, honor, infinite glory to. Let's turn to the east. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakat, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, very millstone who rule what, teach what, tell us the truth. And a hearty shalom to all the Akim, Akab tuning in. Shalom, shalom. All right. Now, today, we're going into another TikTok update, going into the news and different things that's happening. Lord willing, this us edified. So we're going to hop right into it.
Y'all, these folks at AMC say a 2-pound beef hot dog meal is, let me make sure y'all see, $22.37. We asked her, we say, ma'am, how much is the ice cream? How much she say it is, friend?
$6 fucking. No.
My friend said, I'm going to take that shit.
And very soon, we're going to be breaking and entering into these stores. Okay, they're going to be pillaging these stores. All right, very soon, the dollar is going to collapse. The power is going to go out. You know, these people, they're going to go crazy, man. You know, the shipping port's going to shut down. You know, trucks will no longer be bringing in goods. You know, it's going to get real bad out here. You know, you got the war over there in Iran. You know, Russia, Ukraine, you have many things just playing out behind the scenes. You know, the gas, they said they're about to lower gas. So inflation is going to be hitting even more. For 2 hot dogs, a pack of hot dogs is like what? It's at the most $4, $5. You know what I'm saying? With the bread, you know, $2 max. You know, so charge you $22 for a drink and 2 hot dogs is insanity, all right? So this is Proverbs 11:4. It says, riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness deliver from death. So, you know, you having money is not going to deliver you. You being able to, you know, have a chip that's not going to save you. You being able to, you know, save money in a bank. You've been saving up, you know, stocking up, doomsday prepping. That's not going to save you. What's going to save you is righteousness. All right, that's what's going to deliver you in the times to come. Let's get this.
The deposit into my account, as many of my colleagues have, but unfortunately, it was not the full amount owed. So still waiting on to be made whole with that.
How dire has this situation been for yourself and your fellow TSA workers? I know hundreds have already left. How critical is it to get all of your pay as soon as possible?
It's very critical. I mean, officers have gone into debt. Credit has been shot. Officers have been evicted. Cars have been repossessed. So in order, you know, that money is needed in order to get some sense of normalcy back to officers' everyday lives. This morning, I did receive a deposit into my account, as many of my colleagues have.
All right, so this TSA worker, he's saying, you know, they got paid yesterday, but it still was enough, you know, and a lot of people that work as TSAs, they weren't getting paid for months. All right, so their houses, their cars, you know, other things got repossessed, you know, bills wasn't paid, you know, they probably got their lights cut off, you know, it's all different type of things that could have played out. But let me read the scripture out. This is James 2:5. It says, hearken, my beloved brethren, have not Yahweh chosen the poor of this world rich in faith? The Lord is dealing with the poor of this world, those that are at the bottom, those that are suffering, those that are not able to pay their bills and stay afloat. It says, the poor have chosen the poor of this world rich in faith. We're rich in faith and belief and trusting in Yahweh Shai. It says, in heirs of the kingdom, which have promised to them that love him. So if you love Yahweh Shai, you're going to push this truth. If you love Yahweh Shai, you're going to keep the faith. If you love Yahweh Shai, you're going to do what's needed, all right, to stay in this truth. All right, it says, in heirs of the kingdom, which he had promised to them that love him. So if you love Yahweh Shai, you're going to be able to get a piece of this kingdom, Lord willing. You know, as long as you suffer, you keep the faith, you keep push the names, you know, and do what's asked of you, you know, according to scriptures. Let's get this.
Take over the Strait of Hormuz. You'd think it would be relatively for the world's most powerful navy to conquer this tiny but critical waterway that's only 30 odd kilometers across at one point, so they can finally get Middle East oil flowing back out to the world again. But no, it's not that easy.
Attention all ships from now on. All navigating through the Strait of Hormuz is forbidden.
For starters, imagine putting an American warship directly in harm's way, right in the highly predictable, tightly confined kill box that is the Strait of Hormuz. Unlike in open water, it would be attackable not just by air and by sea, but also by land, where a rocket or missile strike could be launched from mere meters away. That might give any defender only seconds, not necessarily minutes, and certainly not hours to react. And what if the US were to lose or sustain damage to a warship in the Strait? Two problems. First, that's a multi-billion-dollar loss heaped on top of however many injuries and deaths. A country that has a very low tolerance for loss.
So basically, man, you know, the United States talking about, you know, they go in the Strait of Hormuz, and, you know, Trump calling it the Strait of Trump, you know, all these different things. They have no idea that the U.S., it will be very hard for them to, you know, go in and start war and take over this place. All right, so let's get to scripture, man. All right. All right, so this is, hold on, Salakia. All right, so this is Revelations 11:14. It says, the second woe was past, and behold, the third woe coming quickly. So World War is coming up very soon. All right, whether people believe it or not, very soon, you know, the U.S. is going to go to war against China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. And according to scriptures, they're going to lose. Okay, let's get this other scripture going into, you know, these shipping ports and things getting shut down. We can get another article going into this.
You'll see all these $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 houses. Well, here's one. All right. I want to show you what these son of bitches are made out of. You see that? Look at this shit. Hold on. It gets better. Okay. Now, behind all those bricks, right there, there's this. Ain't shit to it. Y'all want y'all's goddamn homes built out of fucking cardboard? 200 G's. 200 G's. See all the $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 houses.
All these houses, you know, they built out of damn cardboard, man. You know, they built these houses with, you know, low grade things, man. And they sell it to you for a high price. Okay, a lot of these homes, they get cold. You know, they break down. You know, they have all type of problems. You know, and this is why, man. America is built with nothing but damn cardboard, man. You know, these different buildings, these houses, they're built out of cardboard. But our kingdom is going to be built out of precious stones, man. You know, I should grab that. Let me get this scripture that I had in mind first. See if I can find that, Salakia. All right, so this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and 48. It says, "Thou hast followed her that is hated in all thy work and inventions. Therefore said Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai." Right, all these different nations, all these heathens, all these people, they've been following after the mindset, the philosophies of Babylon the Great, which is America. All right, but now they're going to see what's going to happen. 2nd Ezra 15 and 49, "I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood." All right, a lot of women are going to lose their husbands. Poverty, a lot of people are going to be broke, you know, poor. Famine, a lot of people are going to be starving to death. Food shortages. It says sword, all right, the nuclear missiles, robodogs, drones, all right, guns, and pestilence, all right, sicknesses, diseases, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. So that's what's coming to the houses in America, man, is destruction. All right. Oh man. Let me see. There was another one that I wanted. I'm trying to scroll up a little bit. Dang, where is that? Salakia. All right, so yeah, this scripture, it's a fire scripture. That's what I'm looking for. All right. Dang. Salaki, I'm trying to find that. I'm about to find it any second. All right, so this is 2 16 and 40. Let's get it from 39. It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth. We just read some of those plagues. The famine, the sword, teeth of wild beasts. And the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. Everybody's going to be catching hell. Everybody's going to be suffering except for the elect. It says, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and those evils be even pilgrims on the earth. So we're going to be pilgrims on the earth. We're going to totally put away with the money, totally do away with our jobs, our cars, our houses, whatever we got in this world. We're going to totally walk away from it and be pilgrims of the world. Basically, leave this society behind and follow Yahweh Shem Yahushua and be on the outskirts, being enemies of the state, man. Basically being on the run, avoiding Esau, Edom, and his kingdom. It says, he that said, 2 Ezra 16 and 41, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth is one that will lose. So yeah, you selling stuff, you might be making a lot of money now, but it's for naught. Why? Because the society is going down the drain. You might be buying up stuff, stocking up stuff, building up your house, trying to get things in order. All right, but it's for naught. All right, Ezra 16 and 42, he that occupied merchandise as he that have no profit by it. So right, you might be able to get a TV, Xbox 360, PlayStation, whatever, but it's for naught. Why? Because soon this society is going to end. It says, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. Right? They're building all these houses, saying that we're going to be in this, 2020, 2030, 2040, all this and that. But in reality, all this is going to come to an end. We might not even make it that far. All right, so let's keep going.
You are predicting here.
I'm predicting that this.
Give it to me straight. What is the worst case scenario that you are predicting here?
I'm predicting that this is going to get worse before it gets better. This is going to be a longer and costlier conflict than just about everybody expected.
You have said that a prolonged closure of the Strait of Hormuz is a guaranteed global recession. Do you still stand by that?
Look, yes, the world economy cannot go without 20% of its energy supply, period.
Rarely do we recognize history in the making, but is that what we are witnessing right now? We're sitting in the middle of an unprecedented time.
Yes, we are experiencing, just as a factual matter, the big energy disruption in history. You have to just hope and pray that it doesn't go on for too much longer.
Give it to me straight. What is the worst case scenario that you are predicting here?
Man. Hey, things are shutting down. America is closing, man. You can see every single day that, we're getting closer and closer to the end, and it's a very good feeling. All right. So we're going to go into scriptures. Back here. All right. So let's go into scriptures. If things keep going the way that's going, everything is going to slow down, man. This dollar is going to crash. We're not going to be able to get certain foods, supplies and things that we need to stay afloat, man. This country is going to go into the brink of darkness, man, and everything is going to crumble. So this is 2 Ezra 6 and 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. All these places, all these things that we thought would be forever, everything that we thought would go on and on forever, it's going to come to an end. It says the full storehouse shall suddenly be found empty. All right, so these full storehouses, Kroger's, Myers, Target, Sam's Club, Costco's, all these different places, they're going to go empty. Why? Because shipping ports ain't going to be bringing in food and supplies anymore. These different trucking companies, they're going to shut down. The gas is going to be too expensive. They're not going to be able to get enough supplies to push them through the whole country. Things is going to get very crazy out here. People are going to lose their minds. And trumpets shall give a sound, which every man heareth, they shall solely be afraid. 2 Ezra 6:24, and at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, every man for himself. Civil war, gangs wars, race wars, people fighting for food, water, and protection. It says, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. Everybody that's going to be in the earth during Jacob's trouble is going to be afraid. And the springs of the fountain shall stand still. In 3 hours they shall not run. Whosoever running from all these I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation in the end of your world. So that's what we're coming into. The end of Esau Edom's society, his rulership, his world. All right.
Here's why. Right now, Iran is firing hundreds of drones and missiles.
Breaking news, the U.S. is headed for a humiliating defeat against Iran, as overnight the Wall Street Journal reported that Donald Trump is willing to end the Iran war even if the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. As according to Trump and his aides, the mission to reopen the strait would push the conflict beyond his timeline of 4 to 6 weeks. And Trump also feels he can wind down the war against Iran and then diplomatically pressure Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz. And if that plan fails, then the U.S. would press Europe and the Gulf states to take the lead in reopening the strait. Meanwhile, Iran's parliament has a bill to impose security fees on the Strait of Hormuz, per Fars News. And if the bill becomes law, then Iran will impose a toll system that other countries would have to in Iranian rials to go through the Strait of Hormuz, which would breathe new life into the Iranian currency and bring it back from the debt which has been destroyed by U.S. sanctions. And the bill states it would also ban passage of U.S. and Israeli vessels through the strait, as well as banning any country that imposes sanctions against Iran. Breaking news, the U.S. is headed for a humiliating defeat against...
Chapter 2 or 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Right, it hasn't happened yet, but at some point it's going to pop off. All these different plays and these different things is going to play out. And Yahushua is going to return to save his people, the elect out of Israel, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. It says, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it's free, wait for it, because it shall surely come and will not tarry. So even though it's taking its time and things are building up, it's still going to play out. Jacob's trouble, World War III, the second coming of Yahushua. All these things have to happen. All right.
Here is simple. Choke off this incredibly narrow passage. It's a massive bottleneck where giant oil tankers are squeezed into just 2 tight shipping lanes, one for ships going in and one for ships coming out. They currently control 3 major islands positioned right along these corridors. Hidden deep inside them is a menacing network of underground bunkers and anti-ship missiles. So why is it so difficult for the U.S. to secure and clear the strait? While the IRGC doesn't use ships, but small boats launch in a 360-degree swarm attacks, the strategy is to take the bridges of larger ships. To make things even more complicated, the U.S. military would have to hunt down in those islands for each and every one of those underground bunkers using massive 5,000-pound bunker weapons. Take a look at the Middle East. This is how Iran is managing to block 20% of the world's oil transport. What's crazy is that major players like the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and even Iran itself all rely entirely on this one narrow corridor. First, let's look at the choke point. At its narrowest, the...
And you're disjoined from the audio, right? Yeah, it should be. Let me see. Sorry.
Mariah, did I make this up? No.
5 seconds. So you don't have to go far. You're disjoined. Okay, you're good. Okay. False alarm.
No, it wasn't a false alarm.
False negative. Sorry.
Yeah, don't joke around. I'm serious about this. It was happening.
I understand. I'm just saying I can't see it, sir.
We're good. Thank you. Get out of my room. Find his supervisor. Jesus Christ.
All right. So this is Genesis 27:41. And Esau hated Jacob. Esau being a so-called white man. Okay, Esau, Edom, that's their true name. All right. There's no such thing as black and white. Okay, those are new titles created from these devils, man. All right, the Lord named us by our tribes of who we are. We're the Hebrew Israelites. Esau, Edom, all right, is the so-called white man. Okay, it says that Esau hated Jacob. Jacob being so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, because of the blessing where was his father blessed him. Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father at hand, then I will slay my brother Jacob. And that's what's coming down to, right? Edom is waiting for his chance to destroy us, man. You can see it right here in this video. You know, these devils, they got problems, man. Let's get
Leave
this.
the Donbass region within the next 2 months. A new demand telling Ukraine that you must leave the Donbass region within the next 2 months. If not, when it comes to peace negotiations, we're going to have a lot more demands. What we're finding out, according to Zelensky, is that Russia has told the United States that we can actually take the rest of that region within the next 2 months. And if we do so, well, I will tell you that the conditions will be different when it comes to peace talks. Zelensky announced this during the Bucha summit, saying, quote, "I'm surprised how anyone could believe this," adding the fact that Russia is claiming they could take that land in 2 months. Yet, if you actually look at the progression that Russia is doing on the front lines, it could actually take Russia 3 to 4 years in order for them to get that land. So why would Ukraine give that up to begin with? They wouldn't. This is just one of Vladimir Putin's ploys to try to convince the United States side that Russia's doing so well and Ukraine is not doing well, and so they should just give up now. And the thing is that we have satellites, we have images, we have deep state maps. We can actually see the slow progression the Russians have. We can also see how Russia is recruiting less men than what Ukrainians are taking out. And so this is just a pressure point that Putin's trying to try. I will tell you, it's probably not going to work. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on this, though, so please do share my videos and follow me for more. Russia has just issued a new demand, telling Ukraine that you must leave. So now Poland is telling the United States, no, thank you, we're not doing that. Because the United States has asked Poland, hey, could you redeploy one of the Patriot systems that you currently have inside of Poland all the way down to the Middle East? In which you got to remember that Poland right now probably has the largest stash of military equipment because that stuff is being used inside of Ukraine. And Poland's like, no, we're not doing that. Mostly because they have to protect, obviously, the munitions, but also their country and NATO. And according to the Polish minister, he said that Washington has suggested to Poland that they should send one of their Patriot batteries alongside with PAC-3 missiles down to the Middle East. And so his response was, quote, "Our Patriot batteries and their equipment serve to protect Polish skies and NATO's eastern flank. Nothing changes in this regard. We're not planning to move them anywhere." With their deputy defense minister also pretty much saying the same thing, that the systems are needed for national defense and, of course, the NATO defense, which, let's be honest, right now, that's more of a threat for NATO right now. So let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. I'll be sure to keep you updated, so please do share my videos and follow me for more.
Going down.
Famous Dex just scammed a fan for $1,200. Wow. And he was about to scam him for $8,000 more. Luckily, this guy didn't fall for it. But basically, he tried to buy a feature off of him, sent him the Cash App for $1,200. Received, and then he says, send me a phone number so I can send you the beat for the feature. Now he's not getting a response. This number is not responding to him. He's saying, dude, like, what are you doing? This is so messed up. Then finally get a hold of, I guess Dex's manager, who then gets a hold of Dex, and they're on the phone and they're basically insisting that this guy sends another 8 bands to do a music video. And he's kind of like playing along, like, yeah, I'll do it. Just send me the feature first. Goddamn. And then Dex says, well, if you're going to do it, hell, do it right now. Bro, oh my God, this is so fucking cruel. Then obviously he didn't fall for that. Dex proceeded to block him. This is so messed up. Honestly, guys, like, Famous Dex, you got to have a wake up call, dude. It's like, bro, you're lucky to be making $1,200, let alone for something that you.
These rappers going outside, man. All right, these rappers going outside. Zephaniah chapter 1. Let's get it from, let's get it from 18. It says, neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. For he shall make us even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. So it don't matter how much money you got. It don't matter who you are or what name you got. If you're not with Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, you're going to be destroyed, man. All right, let's continue.
be on the ground. Y'all better go pick them up. We don't even need no more penny production. Y'all tripping. They got 1 million pennies that be.
False alarm.
No, it wasn't a false alarm.
False negative.
Don't try.
They have to open it up. They have to open up the Strait of Hormuz. I'm so sorry. Such a terrible mistake. The fake news will say he accidentally said, no, there's no accidents with not too many. If there were, we'd have a major story. But they have to open it up. They have to open up the Strait of Hormuz.
The Supreme Court tomorrow is going to hear arguments about your executive order trying to get rid of birthright citizenship.
And I'm going.
You're going to go to the Supreme Court tomorrow.
I do believe.
And just sit there and listen.
Because I have listened to this argument for so long, and this is not about Chinese billionaires who are billionaires from other countries who all of a sudden have 75 children or 59 children in one case, or 10 children, becoming American citizens. This was about slaves. And if you take a look, slaves, we're talking about slaves from the Civil War. And if you take a look at when it was filed, all of this legislation, all of this, everything having to do with birthright citizenship, it was at the end of the Civil War. The reason was it had to do with the babies of slaves and the protection of the babies of slaves.
And which justices will you be listening for most closely?
I love a few of them. I don't like some others. And you know, you say what you want, but you have the ones that were appointed by Barack Hussein Obama and Biden. I don't care how good your case is. You can have the greatest case ever. They're going to rule against you. They always do. And it's not supposed to be that way. Now, the Republicans tend to be very different. They're how honorable they are. So a man can appoint them and they can rule against him. It's so proud of it. We're so proud we ruled against Trump. We're so proud. We're above it. There are those that say that's wonderful. And there are those that say they're so stupid.
The Supreme Court tomorrow is going to hear arguments about your executive order trying to get rid.
I think we're 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. We'll leave because there's no reason for us to do this. Look, problem with the Strait, a guy can take a mine, drop it in the water, and say, "Oh, it's unsafe." It's not like you're taking out an army or you're taking out a country or you.
You said, "Can I come what?"
What the fuck?
Am I looking for someone?
What the hell is this? I can't even. What the fuck?
I am just came from the food hall. I'm just waiting on my ride.
How the hell this happened?
Just came from the food hall. I'm just waiting on my ride.
We got to talk about this oil tanker situation because it's bigger than what they're telling us. Iran just hit a Kuwait tanker near Dubai with a drone. Now, on the surface, they're telling us no injuries, the crew is safe, there was no spills. Cool. But that's not really the point. The point is what they chose to hit. They didn't hit a military base. They didn't hit troops. They hit oil. And it matters because that region controls a huge portion of the world's supply of oil. We're talking about the routes that fuel literally everything. Gas prices, shipping, groceries, all of it. So when a tanker gets hit, it's not just about damage to one ship. It's a message. We can disrupt the global economy anytime we want. And let's be very clear, this did not happen in isolation. This is part of a pattern. More strikes, more tension, more escalation. And every time something like this happens, it gets us a step closer to higher gas prices, supply chain issues, and potentially a much bigger war. And here's the part nobody's really saying out loud. If all routes become unsafe, which they are, other countries have to get involved at some point, so they respond. And it just gets bigger and bigger.
Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone, who rule at a teacher, who tell us his truth. And a hearty shalom to all the Akim, Akbar, to Shalom.